viewers, although today you and I are going to be listeners. Audio is actually a terrible topic for a video. There's so little to visualize. This video has a whole lot of me talking, and then recording sound from a speaker using a mic and expecting you to hear the difference while you're playing a video from YouTube on your phone or your PC, even with good speakers, just isn't realistic. I'm going to spare you that. It has been several years since I talked about whole home audio. That was one of the first topics when I started my channel 8 years ago. My goal was, and is, to have a system of speakers throughout the house so that I can have music in every room, synchronized when we want the same music throughout, or for independent listening when required. Sound quality doesn't have to be spectacular. This is not critical audiophile listening. However, I would like more than good enough. Well, let me update you. For most of that time, I've been a happy Sonos listener, mostly Play Ones, which are in every room where music matters. What I liked about Sonos is impressive sound quality, particularly for the cost of the Play One. The Play 5 provides enough volume to fill a larger room. It also creates a larger and more open sound space. Then, the Sonos system is nearly completely glitch-free and is fully synced from room to room, just like a wired system would be. The Sonos app was the best, loaded quickly, provided excellent control, it aggregated and integrated the services I listened to. Search is and remains its best feature. Now, I'm currently subscribed to Spotify, but also listen to tune-in radio stations from here in Toronto to TSF Jazz in France and Radio Suisse Classic. And I also enjoy the CBC Listen service, and all of these are available natively without having to resort to Bluetooth, casting, or AirPlay. Among the Sonos features we've become addicted to is the alarm, which we use for wake-up and to set our favorite radio programs like Stanley Payan's excellent Quand le jazz est là on Radio-Canada. But the app has started to slow down under too much functionality. There are continual reminders to upgrade when all they want me to do is set up auto-upgrade. And now they're also putting ads, admittedly for the moment just for their own products in the interface. I hate to be the old guy complaining that things were better in the past, but... Then, early in 2020, Sonos announced they were abandoning some legacy products with their next series of firmware updates. Upgrading would brick some of my devices. I was furious. I disconnected the no longer necessary bridge and set aside the now bricked Connect, which integrated devices like turntables and CD players to the system. As with many things, it's not easy to replace something familiar with something new. There's always functionality that gets lost. This fall, both Apple and Google introduced new, inexpensive speakers. This is the Nest audio speaker. Looks like a pillow in portrait mode. This is the HomePod Mini, an oversized, mesh-covered, flat-topped tennis ball. Neither are what you would call classic speaker nor innovative gadget designs. They're both available in multiple colors. The Mini's top provides a light show to indicate that, "Hey Siri, it's listening." Tap the center to stop or start music. There are plus and minus symbols for volume.
I didn't find that on Apple Music.
The Nest has 4 LEDs in front that come on when you say, "Hey Google," to show you that it's listening. Tap the middle to start and to the left and right to change the volume. Sonos uses a standard electrical cable. The Nest has an outlet obstructing wall wart, but it can be disconnected from the speaker. The Mini also has an uncooperative wall wart, really a USB-C adapter. The cable can be unplugged from the adapter, but not from the Mini. While that's useful for portability, the fact that it can't be disconnected from the device means the cable is an unnecessary point of failure. These are smart speakers for the connected home. They have assistants you can talk to ask questions like when is sunset, how many grams in 5 ounces, and to turn on lights, to set the thermostat, providing you have the appropriate connected devices, or to start music playback, like play Toronto radio station 99.1 or play the new Esperanza Spalding album. And they can be used as an intercom to send announcements to all speakers, even when you're not at home. Both support streaming services other than their parent companies. Currently, Apple has fewer services, but for both, it's an evolving target. And then, using Apple's AirPlay or Google's Cast, they can play just about anything. But both of those are glitchier than Sonos. Now, it's also worth noting that Sonos now supports Google and Amazon's Assistant, as well as both AirPlay and Cast, although not on all devices. Now, in general, you can judge the quality of a speaker by size, weight, and cost. Although recently, manufacturers have been raising the bar on quality for smaller size and less expensive speakers. Keep in mind also that there is a bit of a Faustian bargain here. Both Google and Apple use these devices to tie you more deeply into their ecosystems. Profit from this hardware sale may not be their only goal, and the price may reflect that. Google is a little bit more commercial about their data collection than Apple. They use the data to further target advertising to you. Now, these devices have little or no value when not connected to Wi-Fi and internet, and as my experience with Sonos points out, they could decide to brick your device at any time. Now, neither Apple nor Google offers anything like the Sonos app. They do have apps for finding music on their music services, but little of what I like about the Sonos app. And that makes their speakers difficult to use and somewhat less capable. In general, these speakers prefer that you talk to them, which can lead to confusion and frustration when the assistant doesn't get it. Although I'm sometimes impressed or surprised, mostly my expectations continue to be higher than their abilities. Although Nest is somewhat system agnostic, the Mini works best with Apple Music, formerly iTunes. And you may not be comfortable inviting a device that's always listening into your home. Google has a physical switch on the device to turn the mic off.
The mic's off.
The orange lights glow when it's disabled. Even so, you might still be suspicious. Apple's mic is disabled using its Home app, which, although the app is available for phones, tablets, and Macintosh computers, has some usability quirks. Google's Home app, there's no computer version, is similarly quirky. Finding what you want with either one is anything but straightforward. Neither is particularly task-oriented, and both have trouble changing or updating any of your configurations. Although they can set alarms. In January 2021, neither has features like recurring daily or weekly settings or can set the wide variety of services and sources available on Sonos. Now, for sonic evaluation, I do have a short list of critical listening selections. First, Angelique Kidjo's Gimme Shelter. Unless the levels are over 90 decibels, I can't enjoy this high-energy cut. With a solid bass and tight percussion to screaming vocals, it's a grueling test of cleanly recorded, powerful rock. Then, Sabina Siuba's Brasilico with Antonio Forzione on guitar. On this unplugged recording, the flourishes both in her voice and the guitar contain detail and nuance to challenge response and clarity. The wall of sound arrangement on Emily Claire Barlow's Pipoca is packed with mid-range detail, which really requires definition to place her perfect vocals. Then Glenn Gould's Goldbergs. Although I prefer Simone Dinnerstein's recording for the precision of the piano, Gould's attack from the aria to the first variation is a challenge. I set the volume so the aria has a natural room-filling sound and then let Mr. Gould add it. You'll find these and a Spotify playlist in the description below. I also asked my members if there were any recordings they found of value in listening tests. Solomon recommended several interesting selections, including Jacqueline Dupre's recording of Elgar's cello concerto, and Jacob Collier's Moon River, also a favorite of mine. Please do post your preferred listening test tracks in the comments. And please temper my comments with the knowledge that all of these do provide a pleasant listening experience when not compared side by side with a better device. So I set the baseline with the Play 1, which for me remains a most impressive speaker, exceeding my expectations at this price. Powerful output, over 90 decibels, although it can be pushed into distortion at the maximum levels. Bass reaches down to satisfying levels, even if it is a little soft. Mid-range is good for both vocals and guitar, with good clarity and definition. Highs can be brittle, particularly at higher volumes. Now, even with lowered expectations, the Nest audio is less than I expected. The maximum level just exceeds 80 decibels, and at that level the sound remains relatively free of distortion. But bass seems artificially boomy. The lower mid-range is lacking, particularly for the snap of percussion, which lacks some punch. Voices are a little muddy, and definition of voice, guitar, and piano are all disappointing. However, if I take off my audiophile hat and I'm not sitting comparing it to the others, it's certainly acceptable for background and non-critical listening. It's well suited for radio or podcasts. Now, while the HomePod Mini is sonically impressive, it doesn't really provide the volume to fill any but the smallest rooms. Its max is another 10 decibels lower, just over 70. In general, lower levels provide a less impressive experience, but the Mini's sound quality is better, a somewhat unusual observation. Bass has a punch that's missing from the Nest, and vocals have a crisp and natural sound. Note that two Nests or two Minis can be paired for stereo. Remember, however, that mono is the new stereo. Consider how often you're going to be listening from the stereo sweet spot before you set up multiple units in a room. And what none of these three provide is any kind of openness. The sound is somewhat cramped with little spatial ambience. And I'm not getting out a waveform generator, but I'm pretty sure that none provide anything like the flat response those concerned with technical characteristics prefer. They've all been tuned to provide good sound in challenging placements. Now, if you are setting on the path to a connected home, let me share a few notes. The ridiculously low price of the Amazon Echo Flex during Prime Days also intrigued me. And I have to say that for home automation features, Amazon really does stand above the rest. For instance, when I added another Philips Hue lighting fixture, Alexa finds it and adds it to the system, while Hue's native app is still searching for it. And only Alexa integrates my Carrier Infinity Wi-Fi thermostat. The little Flex, of course, is barely suitable for voice, but that's enough in the kitchen when I want to convert imperial measure to metric or ask how old Bob Dylan is. And I had never introduced Alexa to either Spotify or Sonos, so was very surprised when I said, "Alexa, play Diana Krall's new album," and it said,
This is Diana Krall from Spotify playing on Sonos.
Very impressive. Next time, I'll also invite Amazon to the listening party. Now, in the end, even with the aggravation, Sonos remains the better system. Their proprietary network, and note that you do have to have one device connected to Ethernet to enable that, is superior and dropout free. The alternatives, AirPlay, Cast, Bluetooth, are not. And I find it less frustrating to search for and select music, whether it's an artist, an album, a podcast, or a station using the Sonos app. Sonos aggregates multiple sources and services fairly seamlessly. The rest of the Sonos system is also impressive. The Sonos port is an invaluable unit. Not only does it enable me to play CDs and LPs through the Sonos system, it also enables me to integrate my audiophile system as a Sonos speaker. As a bonus, it also bridges AirPlay to Sonos. If I AirPlay to the port, it provides the music to all the Sonos units. But just because it's right for me doesn't mean it's right for you. Your requirements and preferences are different. And because I was familiar with Sonos and its features, I wasn't prepared to give some of them up. If your home automation or your other devices predispose you to use the Nest or the Mini, those could be the best devices for you. As for sound quality, on their own, both provide a pleasant listening experience. Now please, post your listening suggestions, relevant questions, and civil comments below. There are membership perks for those who join my channel, including a private email address so you can correspond directly with me. But subscribers need not worry. No content will ever be behind a paywall. So please, choose the option that suits your needs. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.